In competitive Pokemon, there are several different ways for a player to swap Pokemon around. There's of course the obvious ones like plane swapping, or using pivoting moves such as U-turn or Volt Switch. There's also more niche options such as Parting Shot or Chilly Reception, which are tied to only a few select members of competitive Pokemon's infinitely large cast. In this video though, I want to talk about something in our second section, Flip Turn. Flip Turn is the water-type variation of moves such as U-turn or Volt Switch, being a 60 base power physical move with the special effect of swapping out the Pokemon after the opponent is hit. But notice something off about that definition of swapping out the Pokemon after the opponent is hit. Yeah, that. This is where the definition of slow pivot comes from. Pokemon with these pivoting options that also move slow enough to underspeed most other Pokemon, or at least most offensive ones, so that they can land their pivoting move and bring in their team's own frailer, more offensive-orientated Pokemon. But exactly how important can this slow pivoting be? Well, pretty damn important. See this Toxapex here? Yeah. Notice how it's level 99 instead of level 100 like all other Pokemon here? That's how important it is. This specific match takes place in the metagame STABmons during the OMWC, the Other Metagame World Cup. STABmons is a tier where any Pokemon can take any unbanned move that correlates with their own typing, which for Toxapex is huge. Toxapex typically is just a pretty darn tanky wall, typically used on fatter teams, but in STABmons, it's essentially on almost every team, or every 1 in 3 to be exact. This is why Toxapex is level 99. While you can always invest your Toxapex to be at the lowest speed possible, which is 67 at level 100, with 0 EVs, a negative boosting nature, and 0 IVs, but at level 99, this drops by just exactly 1. Pretty rad, right? But how helpful is this? Well, not that helpful, but it can be pretty nice on teams that find themselves with a big enough advantage off of the niche reasons to take this. The first reason is if you just don't have an answer to Toxapex's Mortal Spin, which can guarantee a poison on any Pokemon it hits. This can be pretty annoying, and on a team that lacks either a Steel, Poison, or even Covert Cloak user, can be game ending after enough stalling turns pass. The same goes for its access to Scald, a move much like Mortal Spin, but instead of guaranteeing a poison, it just has a pretty strong chance to burn. The second reason would be if you've got a team that already has a pretty fast pivot, and so having a slow pivot, and especially slow pivot in this case, can be a pretty huge boon. The third and final reason you take this is just simple. Toxapex is common, and moments like this, where a Toxapex is out against another Toxapex, are pretty annoyingly common. And so what happens when these two Toxapexes are on the field at the same time? Well, they both speed tie. Both being level 100 with 0 EVs, IVs, and a negative speed nature means they both have a speed tier of 67. So how's the game decide who wins? A coin flip, obviously. But this level 99 Toxapex, it never has to bet on the speed tie, all because it dropped 1 level, and in turn dropped 1 whole speed point that this Toxapex just can't. This is a pretty common occurrence too, less so on ladder matches where you'll be playing against completely random players, but in tournaments, when building teams against your opponents, you might notice that they really like to bring Toxapex, but what if you do too, or your team just needs a Toxapex as well? Well, to make sure you can win this, or at least get a better chance at that, simple, drop a level. This is the exact same thing that happened in the home era of almost any ability, another Other Metagame, where Pokemon can take almost any ability. The name's fairly self-explanatory. During the home era of the metagame though, Corviknight found itself in the same position as Toxapex, if not a bit worse. What makes me say that? Yeah, level 97 Corv. Now this was the only time this happened, but it's a pretty odd interaction within the meta, as every level you lose is more defense and HP you're also losing, so it's pretty weird, to say the least. But sometimes it's just that important to lose a few important speed wars that originally you may have won just due to a coin flip. Now, sadly, I can't show you how the game went, cause I don't have the replay. So you're just gonna have to take my word on this, and the word of the guy who did it, MZ. What we do still know about the game though, it was a best of 3, and the first match, MZ brought a level 100 Corviknight, while his opponent brought a level 98 Corviknight. Then the second match, his opponent raised their Corviknight to level 99, which was in response to seeing MZ's level 100 Corviknight. But MZ? Yeah, that's pretty metal. It's a pretty slippery slope though. How far are we really considering going? It starts at 99, but if it keeps going, well then we're definitely being speed-tized then. Or maybe not. But if you're here, go ahead and comment. After all, you're in before level 1 Tox becomes meta. Video over. Big thanks for watching, and shout out to STABmons tier leader Neon. He's the one who came up with the in before level 1 Tox joke, and helped with a bit of research into the topic itself. As well as Lordbox, almost any abilities tier leader, for helping out some of the research for this video on the AAA side.